Hello and welcome to episode 52 of the Raw Leadership Podcast with me, Steve Barker. I hope that wherever you are in the world, whatever you're up to, you're having a good day and a good week and life is treating you well. So today's topic is why smart leaders stop listening. Now, I don't think that leaders generally stop listening because they have a communication problem. I personally think that leaders stop listening because they have an ego problem. Now, don't just write me off straight away. Don't go, oh, here he goes. He's going to tell us we're getting all above ourselves, etc., etc. When we truly understand the ego, we see it as our suit of armor, as our protection. Now, I run a whole training around the ego. So it's a 90-minute training where we dive deep into the ego and we understand what the ego is, the way that it relates to leadership and ourselves as human beings, but also how we can start to recognize it. Now, one of the problems with the ego is that it needs to be right. It needs to think that it's the right, it's correct all the time. So when we start to think about the communication problem and why leaders don't possibly listen or they tend to stop listening, we start to see trust eroding within our team. We start to recognize that our team are disconnecting from us, that they seem to be going a little bit rogue, that they seem to be doing their own thing or starting to work in their own unique ways. Now, we're not here to stop that. In actual fact, I think it's really quite good that if the team can go a little bit rogue and do their own thing, but if they're not communicating that back through the leadership, how do we know what's going on? So when we start to talk about this, I want to start to explore why leaders feel disconnected, feel like they are not communicating effectively with their team, and how the ego is actually replacing curiosity. So, as I said, the ego, one of the needs of the ego is to be right. We feel that if we are not right, then people aren't going to listen to us, that we're not going to connect well with people, that we don't have the credibility or the authority to be a leader. And one of the things that I've found in leadership, so I've been in leadership myself personally, professionally, for over 30 years. And I've been coaching leadership now for over 7 years. And when I find that people need to be right as leaders, it's because they feel that they are not being respected by other people. So they impose their authority upon people. And this is where we then move from the leadership concept to becoming more of a boss, manager, or supervisor. Now, I'm not saying that as leaders we don't always need to be right. There will be times where we need to be right and we need to convey that message. However, when we stop listening, we tend to have this air of arrogancy around us, that we know better, that, our shit doesn't stink, for want of a better description. A real life example of this, a real story to share with you, was when I was in recruit training. So back in the days when I was in the Royal Air Force, I was in recruit training and I was in Australia. I was here in Australia on my military exchange. And I was running a section called pre-recruit training. And this was basically where we had civilians who hadn't joined the Air Force yet coming to RF Halton, to the basic recruit training centre, so that they could experience for 3 days what it was like to be in the military. And we treated them just the same as we would basic recruits. And the concept was that we'd be able to assess their fitness level. We'd be able to issue them with a pair of boots so they could get them broken in, because the number of leg injuries that we got from people not being able to exercise or move around in boots was amazing. So by giving them a pair of boots, getting them used to walking in them, breaking them in, it saved us a lot of injuries and a lot of money. Anyway, I'd been running this program, this section, this team, for about 3 years. It's called the pre-recruit training program. So I might refer to it as a program. And in that time, I'd fine tuned the program and I'd got it just at the right sweet point. It was awesome. And I was getting good reports, glowing reports from my superiors saying that the section was running well and we were meeting all of our objectives. And then I got detached to Australia on an exchange for 4 months. I was super excited about this, but it also meant leaving my baby, leaving my section to the hands of two unpromoted sergeants. So they were acting sergeants. They were full substantial corporals, and they were given the role of acting sergeant to see if how they go. It was a good career development opportunity for them. And as the couple of weeks before I went away on my deployment, I did a handover with them, and I said to them, please don't change anything. Just leave it as it is. It's running smoothly. I went away for 4 months, and I started to get emails and messages about how these two acting sergeants were changing things within the section that I was running, how they were implementing new changes and mixing things up, and how it wasn't as good as it used to be. And they were moaning, some people were moaning at me and saying, "Can you have a word with him?" And I'm like, "I'm on the other side of the world, mate. Not much I can do." And I felt that my position was being undermined, my authority was being undermined, that my section was being diluted. And that really sat uncomfortably with me. Now, my ego got in the way. My suit of armor, my safety mechanism started to run my thinking. And towards the end of my deployment, as I started to think about coming back to the UK and re-engaging in my section and having to sort it all out, I was a little bit bitter and twisted because by now I'd heard some reports that things had changed and stuff like that. And I made a couple of comments on social media. Not my proudest moment, I will certainly admit this, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, because hopefully you can learn through my lesson. But I shared on social media statements like, I've got to come back and sort out this shit show. Why can't people just leave things alone? Why do I always have to come and resolve the problems that other people create? And it was clearly directed at these two acting sergeants. They saw it, they took offence to it, and they spoke to my leadership, and my leadership spoke to me when I returned to the UK. And yes, I was disappointed. I was pissed off. I was frustrated. I'd clearly left a good section, and when I came back, it wasn't where it was. It was, probably about 6 months behind where it needed to be. So I had to work hard to get it back up there. And what I'd done in those comments in social media was allowed my ego to get in the way. Now, one of the things when we talk about the ego and we discuss the ego in that module that I talk about in the Raw Leadership program, we discovered that the ego is quite an immature behavior. Immature is probably, the best word for it. We act like a 5-year-old. And I'm sure you can think of times where you've experienced your behavior that's come from your ego and it's been quite immature, where you've shot from the hip, where you've like reacted and sort of responded in that way. You just let words fly. We've all done it, but it wasn't my finest hour. And after a couple of months of being back in the UK and being rebuked by my leadership and having to write a formal apology to the two acting sergeants, and once the emotional dust had settled and I got my head back on my shoulders, I then thought about curiosity, and I thought, well, why did they change things? Why did they, upset the apple cart? And I thought to myself, well, let's put yourself in their shoes. They've been given the opportunity to show their leadership skills by running my section. They would have wanted to make changes so that they could show that they can implement changes. This was an opportunity for them to demonstrate that they can run a section so that when it comes to the next appraisal, they can be promoted. Now, I wouldn't say they got promoted straight off the next appraisal, but they've both gone on to be promoted and have really good careers, which I'm very, very happy for them for. But my response was immature and ego driven. But once I started to bring curiosity and I put myself into their shoes, I could understand why they'd done what they'd done. Now, from that perspective, I was then able to re-engage with them and talk to them and ask them about different ideas and strategies and why they did stuff. And like I say, once we got past the emotional dust and everything else that had really got stirred up, it was a bit of a hornet's nest when I came back. And we were able to then move forward because when I actually left, I believe that one of them actually took over the running of that training section because I'd left the Air Force and moved to Australia. So the point I'm sharing this story for is because ego replaces curiosity. If I'd been a little bit more curious, a little bit more mature in my response when I was in Australia on my exchange, and I hadn't thought that I knew everything and that, the arrogance was there, then I might have been able to connect with them and talk to them and say, hey, what's going on? What can I do to support you in the changes that you're trying to make? What are you trying to achieve? And I could have approached it in that way rather than the immature responses that I did via social media. So it's not that smart leaders stop listening, they stop communicating, and they stop communicating because of the ego. And it's not just the leaders that stop communicating, it's the other people that stop communicating with the leader because of that arrogance, because of that attitude that's there, the unspoken behavior that's driving people away. So as a leader, we want to start thinking about ways that we can be more curious and override that need for safety, that ego-based behavior. We need to be able to recognize and understand what the ego behavior looks like. And again, this is why I refer to the module that I talk about, which is how do we create reality and the filters that we use, because the ego is one of the biggest filters. And that's why I spend 90 minutes on it, because people say to me, why are you including this in your Royal Leadership program, Steve? What has ego got to do with it? Well, ego is driven by a need to feel safe. And if we don't feel safe, then the ego comes out and the ego behavior comes out. And in the modern workplace, psychological safety is a major thing. So if we can recognize when our team aren't feeling safe, and we see this through their behavior, through the ego, then we can understand the situation and we can create a more psychological safe environment for our team, because what we understand and what we know for fact is that when people feel safe, they're more productive, they're more responsible, they're more responsive to change and adaptability to that change. So this is why I include ego in the Raw Leadership program. So if you'd like to know more about that, please reach out and give me a call. But for now, when we ask ourselves, why are we feeling disconnected from our team? Why is our team going a little bit rogue? Why are we not communicating with them? What's going on? I encourage you to think about your ego. Use my story of me being in Australia as an example of that. How we shoot from the hip, how we become defensive around what we believe is ours. How we, may have spent a lot of time creating something and then we feel that it's being ripped apart by somebody else. But not one point did I pause and ask myself, why? So something that we can do with leaders, and this is what I encourage you over the next week after listening to this podcast, now I've raised your conscious awareness to this, is I want you to start bringing more curiosity to your leadership. This is something that I say a lot to all of my clients. Anybody who's coached with me will go, yeah, he says this all the time. Bring more curiosity and less judgment. And the way that we can do this is we can use phrases like, I wonder. I wonder why they're doing this. I wonder what's happening. I wonder what the thought process is. The other question we can ask ourselves is, what if? What if I looked at it through this perspective? What if I looked at it through their perspective? What if this happened? What if that happened? What if these things that I'm seeing are for the better and I just can't see it because I'm stuck in the moment? Using questions like these. Another question we could ask ourselves is, how do they see it? How are they creating their version of reality? What filters are they putting it through? What experiences do they have? Where have they come from? What do they know? Or maybe are they presuming or assuming? But when we bring curiosity, more curiosity to our thinking rather than reacting, the knee-jerk reaction to something, the shooting from the hip. Once we bring a little bit more curiosity and we've calmed ourselves down, that's another framework that I talk about, stress. Because again, it's scientifically proven when we're stressed, we've disengaged our frontal cortex, so we're not thinking straight. Once we can use these strategies and these frameworks to be able to help us to regulate our response to stuff, and we can create space to be able to think about it, then we can bring more curiosity. Another thing that I could challenge you to do is to be the last person to speak in meetings, particularly if you're chairing the meeting. Introduce the meeting, then go around the people. Allow them to speak first. Let them have their say. Another framework that I talk about in the Raw Leadership program is conflict resolution. And one of the overarching principles, not just of conflict resolution, but of leadership, is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. So by allowing other people to go first, we get their perspective. We understand where they're coming from. Even more than this, because they've had the opportunity to be heard, they feel validated and significant. Then, when we have let everybody else have their say, we can share our thoughts. Because it's only then that we have the whole picture, the true picture of what's going on. So I encourage you, now I'm starting to wrap this podcast up, episode 52, Why Smart Leaders Stop Listening. I want you to start thinking about how can you, A, re-engage and connect more with your team by bringing more curiosity and less judgment, but also thinking about your ego-based responses. And one of them is to feel safe, to be right. Do you need to be right all the time? And I'm not saying that you're just, again, I've listened to podcasts like this and they've gone, do you need to be right all the time? And I go, no, I'm quite happy not being right. And you sit there in your ivory tower and you're like, yeah, I'm very emotionally intelligent. I know when I can be wrong. But when it comes to the actual moment and the ego's revved up, and you're reacting rather than responding, and you got the brain fog going on because you're stressed and you disengage your frontal cortex. It's those moments where you go, no, that's wrong. This is how it needs to be done. And those are the small moments that create this disconnection. So I want you to start being curious about this. Because leadership begins the moment curiosity becomes more important than being right. I want you to think about that. Leadership begins the moment curiosity becomes more important than being right. So with that, I will wrap this podcast up. I thank you very much for joining me. I'd love to hear your thoughts around this and any strategies that you may also have. And if you are interested in the Raw Leadership program, or even just having a leadership health check, which is where we sit down for a couple of hours, we dive deep into your leadership and we identify areas that are going well and areas that we could improve upon, and I will share insights and tips and strategies with you, then please reach out. Give me a call. That's what I'm here for. But for now, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're up to, it's been great to share with you. Thank you very much. Take care, and we'll speak again soon. Toodaloo.